It's October 2nd, 2011, and it's been a really warm fall so far, luckily, so I've been able to extend the time that I left the honey supers on the beehive, which has worked out well because it's been a really busy fall for us, but busy September. So today it's about, I don't know, 80 degrees out here, and it's called a fume board or an acid board, depending on who you talk to, from a local beekeeper down in Rapid City, and I borrowed that from him today so that I can go ahead and take the honey supers off of my beehive today. And so what I've done so far is dressed up, and I don't have a full honey suit, a beekeeper suit. I just have the hat and the gloves, and then I just kind of wear loose clothing that I figure if they really want to sting me, they're going to, but hopefully not as many as could potentially happen. And when you look at the beehive, the top wood-colored piece of it is the fume board, and basically it's just a structure. On the top there's kind of some plastic, and then under that there's a black felt, and you turn it over and you spread some honey robber is what it said on the container, and it's a chemical that has a smell that the bees don't like at all, and you set it on there, and the warmth of the sun on that plastic and the black will kind of disperse that smell really well within the hive. And the idea is that it drives the bees down out of the honey super, down into the bottom of the hive, and then you can go and more easily get the honey super off without having to brush the bees off and potentially hurting the bees and riling them up any more than you have to. So I've already have put the fume board on there, and to do that I went ahead and got my smoker going, which is sitting right there, and suited up, had my hat and my gloves on, because this time of year I've found they can be a little angry. Bees get a little territorial, and they kind of like to keep their honey and all their food stores that they've created for the winter that's coming up, because they're not stupid and they know it's going to get cold. And so the fact that I'm going and taking away some of their food stores, they don't like that. And so it's wise to suit up this time of year. If no other time, this is probably a good time. So the fume board is on there. I'm going to let it sit there for about 30 minutes, and then I'm going to go back and check and look in the honey super, the top one, and then the second one that are the top two boxes there, and see if the bees have basically left them. And if they have, I'll go ahead and take those completely off and put the inner lid and the outer lid back on the hive. If the bees are still pretty active in that second super, then I'll probably just put the fume board back on for another 30 minutes and then come back again. So we'll follow up. Okay, so I'm getting ready to go up and take the honey supers off of my beehives. This is my modified bee suit. It's not the coolest thing in the world, either fashionably or heat-wise, but hopefully it will work. So the little hat just keeps them away from your face and your hair and your neck, because that's where they go for when they want to sting. And then you tie it down around your waist, I guess, so if it's windy it doesn't blow away or something. I don't know. Anyways, I have been told by several people that you want to make sure that this part is bent away from your skin, because the bees will just land on it and sting right through it. Gloves, for obvious purposes, just to keep them from stinging your hands. And then my smoker I already had going because I put the fume board on there about 45 minutes ago. So now we're going to go over and see if the bees are fumed out of the honey supers, and I can get the honey supers off to go extract the honey. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and just smoke a little bit here. Just trying to let the bees know that got something going on, settle them down. This is the fume board, or the acid board as some people call it. So you pour a chemical on there, and then that smell from the chemical penetrates down through the honey super, and the bees go down to try to get away from it. So I'm going to pull this off. Hopefully the bees have left the honey super. Okay, so there's none in the top one, and I don't really anticipate that I have much honey at all in the top one because I put it on very late in season. I'm going to go ahead and smoke this a little bit where a couple of the bees are coming out, just to calm them down a little. And then I'm going to go ahead and see if I can loosen up this honey super and get down to the next one. The bees have really stuck these together because out in the wild they would just keep adding on to their hive and just building up, and so when you keep adding these boxes on the top, that kind of just emulates what they do in nature, and they just keep gluing everything together. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and set this one here for a second, and yeah, it looks like they've moved out pretty good. So I'm going to see if I can get this baby pulled apart. It's going to be stuck on here pretty good because I haven't gone in to this lower part for months. Since they really started building honey in here, I've been leaving this alone. So this should be glued on pretty good. Kind of hear it popping and cracking as I get everything pried apart here. And keep in mind that these frames are going to be kind of glued to the frames down in the deep boxes, which they get to keep. So we'll see how strong I am today and if I can get all of this pulled apart. I'm going to just put it in this tub, hopefully, and then take it on down to my beekeeper friend who has an extractor so he can extract it for me today. It's going to be heavy. And I'm just going to set it in there sideways, put the lid on it, which I have no idea where the lid is at. Here it is. Let that bee out. And then, Rick, do you want to come in just a little bit closer? You can see this is what the bees get to have for their food for the winter, right here. So there's some great honeycomb and honey in there, and they're just busily working away on that. And then, you know, this is their brood boxes, and I believe the queen and the brood should be down in this box. I'm learning as I go, so I could be wrong, but these are looking really good. They should have some really great food for the winter time. And I feel pretty good about the success of this project this year. So they're not being real aggressive, which is great. I'm going to go ahead and put the inner lid back on. And try not to squash anybody if I don't have to. And they'll have this thing glued right back on by tomorrow. And then I'm going to go ahead and put the outer lid back on. And I'll just put this other honey super into storage then for next year. And let's see, put the lock, and then now all we need to do before winter is go ahead and put some bales over on this windy side and kind of just windproof it a little bit for winter time. And I think I'll put a little bit of a feeder back on the front again so they can get some sugar water to prepare them for winter, and we should be good.